Kamahl. The Aussie icon was initially a no. Then he was a yes after he received a visit from 2 yes campaigners, and he is now a no again, having thought about it for 48 hours. First he was an uninformed no, then he was a semi-informed yes, and now he's a fully informed no, as he told The Project last night. Here he is.
No is an informed decision. The first no was an uninformed decision, and then a yes was a semi-informed decision, and now 100% I am well and truly committed to saying no.
The problem is, as Kamahl said, is that the voice is about race, and race shouldn't be in our constitution.
It will be, if you do the voice this way, it becomes a racist issue. You're putting a whole race of people separate from the rest of the country.
So much for the Kamahl momentum that the Prime Minister had detected a bit earlier.
Something I get great heart from is the decision of Kamahl, a very courageous decision. He's someone who came out and said no and went away, spoke to people, read what it was about, read the question and decided that he would come out and declare his support for yes, and to say why would anyone oppose this. So we have now a new term that we've coined today, Kamahl-mentum, in the last couple of weeks.
That was the Prime Minister there on Saturday, and of course on Sunday Kamahl had changed his mind. Mind you, the pushback Kamahl got from the Project team on TV last night is typically akin to the moral scorn that the Yes camp directs at people who don't agree.
Kamahl-mentum, that Albo thought would lift the vibe of the voice. 88-year-old Kamahl sure played those left-wing smartasses on the Project off a break.
We're originally saying no, and then you went to yes. So are you back on no?
Just you're saying that now your decision is fully informed. I think we're all interested to understand
not
how
fully,
you landed on this position.
No.
Kamahl, wouldn't a voice, though, give these First Nations people access to policymakers? Isn't it fair that Indigenous people have a say on policies that are affecting them?
I don't know whether they have a common voice as Indigenous people.
That's what the voice is about.
Yeah. Doesn't that lack of understanding of Indigenous people mean that there should be a reason to have a voice so that they can express their experiences, their life, and have policy that is made around their individual experience, because there are a lot of people that don't understand that?
Now, that's not what struck me most about the exchange last night. It was the on-air fact-checking of Kamahl's statement in that exchange that there's around $40 billion a year of Indigenous spending that might have misled the viewers into thinking Kamahl had a $40 billion figure, and that was way off the mark.
At the moment, it's $40 billion a year. $40 billion a year. To the Indigenous people. Where's the money going to? What are they doing with it?
Sorry, where are you getting that figure from, Kamahl?
I beg your pardon?
Where's that figure come from?
The 40 billion?
Yeah. Where?
I saw it and, somebody told me, maybe, I think I'm making it up. They're spending $40 billion. How are they spending that money?
Kamahl, obviously grateful to have you on. I feel we should probably just fact-check the 40 billion figure, because you've used it a few times and I know a lot of people are listening to you. I think there was a claim made by Tony Abbott some years ago that the National Indigenous Australians Agency spent $30 billion a year. That's been fact-checked as false. The government agency says it's never administered funding of $30 billion a year on Indigenous programs. Its total budget for 2022 and 23 was $4.5 billion. So I think it's probably just right, given that we are in a referendum and people are making up their minds, that we just get that right.
Well, we can split the difference, but the fact is...
Sorry, Kamahl, there's a big difference between $4 billion and $40 billion.
No. That's okay. I made a mistake. Okay.
Now, he says 40 billion, Kamahl says 40 billion. That's what's spent on Aboriginal people. And the project hosts, well, they did a good job of trying to verbal him into thinking that his macro $40 billion budget number was somehow related to Canberra's national Indigenous Agency. That's what he didn't say that. They said that. In fact, he was talking about overall budget numbers. Every dollar that governments around the country spend on Aboriginal people. And the truth is, Kamahl was right. Taxpayers do spend around $40 billion a year on Aboriginal Australians. Kamahl was right, and here's the evidence to prove it. The 2017 Indigenous Expenditure Report from the Productivity Commission. That's the federal government's own Productivity Commission. And here's the key points. It says, in the 2015-16 financial year, total direct government expenditure on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australians was estimated to be $33.4 billion. And then there's all the specific Indigenous programs run by state and federal governments, such as the $4.5 billion spent by the National Indigenous Australians Agency. Now, adjusting the 2016 figure in the Productivity Commission's report for inflation, well, that gives us now a figure of $39.5 billion in Aboriginal spending today. So Kamahl last night on the project was actually spot on with his $40 billion figure. Now, like so much of the Voice debate, much of the commentary is at best misleading, at worst deceptive and bullying. That's why even left-leaning Facebook had to walk back its fact-checking claim that the Uluru Statement was just one page, not a 26-page statement of claim against the Australian people. Now, the polls might be encouraging, but the fight to keep our Constitution colourblind is far from over, especially given the wall-to-wall advertising from the cashed-up Yes camp and the moral intimidation from them as well. There's the danger of poll-induced complacency as well. Now, please, if you want to keep our Constitution colourblind, don't let anything stop you voting no. Let's leave the last word with Kamahl.
Indigenous people need help. By making them a separate race from Australia, that's not acceptable. You know, it's a no from me, period.
Now, I wonder whether the Prime Minister would be feeling a little bit silly. I've had a few people send me a note about Kamahl. Now, I've got to confess something. I don't care what Kamahl thinks about The Voice. No disrespect to Kamahl, but when Kamahl first came out and said he was voting no, I said, all right, well, good luck to you. When he then came out and said he was voting yes, I said, all right, good luck to you. And now he's come out and said again he's voting no. Dell says, please take your listeners through the Kamahl mentum that Albo thought would lift the vibe of The Voice. 88-year-old Kamahl sure played those left-wing smartasses on the project off a break. I can't stop laughing about it. I want your listeners to enjoy it too. And another one here, did you happen to hear about Kamahl's appearance on the project and him changing his mind on The Voice? Look, I did. I haven't spoken about it, but clearly there are a few people who want me to, so I'm happy to take you through it. So Kamahl said, first of all, that he would be voting no, and then he came out and said he would be voting yes. Now, members of the Yes campaign went and saw Kamahl and apparently educated him on the Voice to Parliament proposal, and he had a change of heart, and then he said, OK, I'm voting yes. And then a lot of people were praising him, including the Prime Minister, Anthony Albanese.
So we have now a new term that we've coined today, Kamahl mentum.
Kamahl mentum. Well, the Kamahl mentum didn't last too long. He said that Kamahl's made a very courageous decision, but it's blown up in everyone's face because only 24 hours later, Kamahl appeared on the project on Channel 10, and in the introduction, the host said, Kamahl has declared a backflip, so what got him over the line? So they were thinking that Kamahl was now in the yes camp, and he was, but all of a sudden he switched back again.
Well, it started with a flippant no about 10 days ago. A few days later, I was persuaded to believe yes would be the way to go, and I eventually got home. 48 hours later, I had reason to believe that I might have made a mistake. In fact, I did make a mistake.
Okay, so the hosts are thinking, what's going on here? Is he yes or is he no?
No is an informed decision. the first no was an uninformed decision, and then a yes was a semi-informed decision, and now 100% I am well and truly committed to saying no.
Okay, so if you're following along at home, Kamahl was a no, then for 48 hours he was a yes, and now he's a no again.
G'day, I'm Kevin Bloody Wilson. You know, I'm just an average bloke. I'm certainly not political. But at $33 billion a year, I don't think Australia needs a voice. What we need is a fucking audit.